Hi everybody, it's Helen. I'm coming to you from Dragonfly House and I'm with Shadow. We're up in the yoga room today and I just wanted to hop on and continue our path of the Rainbow Warrior. So we are on yellow, which is Manipura, our solar plexus chakra. It's all about willpower and self-confidence, motivation, and it's also the home of our ego, so where our little boy or little girl lives. And boundaries is the topic I wanted to talk about today, and that's mostly because I have had so many insights and lessons coming to me about boundaries over the last few weeks. It's been quite phenomenal. So I really thought, this is coming up big. Let's share it. So firstly, why are boundaries important? If you've ever looked after kids, you'll know that willful children will test your boundaries until you make it absolutely clear this is the line. It's because boundaries keep kids safe. And as an adult, you can give a child that safety. They trust you. They know you're going to look after them. They know where the line is, and they can be that happy, content child that you want them to be. So as an adult, we then become responsible for setting our own boundaries. And it's really important to do that. I mean, I have a massive love of freedom and flow and change. And over the years, I have learned that needs to be balanced by routine and stability and boundaries. Otherwise, I can really lose myself. So again, it's that kind of balance of the masculine and feminine, which is so important in any chakra, but it's particularly important in this one, I think. And this week I've been reminded of the triangle, which the triangle of roles that our ego can move into when it feels unsafe. So the first is kind of familiar to all of us. It's the perpetrator role, where we see somebody getting really angry. They are venting about stuff. They are striking out. It's kind of that fight side of the fight or flight. You know, they've been offended in some way, and they're using their anger and their perpetrator to control the situation. So that's the first role that our ego can go into when it's feeling unsafe. The second is the victim. So this one isn't so often seen as an egoic kind of a role, but it's equally as detrimental both to the person playing it out and the people around them. So it's worth remembering this is the one where we get sad, we start to feel worthless, pointless, we can't do it, we haven't got the energy, we're depressed, we're a bit unmotivated. Now, I'm not associating this with mental health, so I just want to make that really clear. But it's that kind of low energy where we don't feel like we have the power anymore. We've given away our responsibility and our autonomy, and we don't believe we can do things. So that's the second, the victim role. And then the third, which has really come up for me the last few weeks, is the savior role. And the reason our ego can go into a savior role is because it wants to distract from all the stuff that's going on for us, and it wants to go in and help somebody so it can feel good again. It's a bit like looking for a sticking plaster. So you might see this in the hero or the martyr, where somebody comes in and saves the day dramatically. And I think you see this in both men and women. You know, men are encouraged to be that strong hero role, and women that kind of mothering, taking care of, caregiver role can equally play out the savior. And the problem with the savior role is that it assumes that the other person needs help. There's no, because you're coming from your ego, not from your higher self. When you're helping as your higher self, it's different. But when you're coming from your ego, you're actually fulfilling a need in you before you're filling the other person's need. And quite often we forget to check with the other person. Do they actually want the help? So a couple of things to kind of remember about these three roles is when you see yourself going into one of them, and you can move around them. That's the other thing. All of us play out all of them at some point, but we tend to have a particular one that we're drawn to most often when our ego's feeling unsafe. So when you see yourself going into any of those roles, the trick is to step out of it, to give yourself that perspective, to see yourself clearly, objectively. And it might be that a friend or somebody could do it. And over time, you'll begin to recognize it in yourself. Like I know when I'm going into I've slipped right into victim when I start going, there's no point in my head. That's what goes through my head. And I'm like, oh, here we are in the depths of victim. So over time, you can definitely pick up the thoughts that come along with it, as well as, you know, the energy levels are quite apparent. So once you've got a hang of kind of understanding which roles you go into, you give yourself the room to step back out of it and to figure out what your little boy or little girl needs to put in place to feel safe, what boundaries have gone awry. And the reason I think this is really important is because it's very easy for us when we're in any of those ego roles to step into somebody else's boundaries and actually not look after them, not see them as a sovereign, empowered being. And actually, when we're in our own ego place, we can trigger somebody else's ego as well. So this is a little bit about being responsible for our little boy and girl and coming back to what is it I need, what boundaries do I need, what routine do I need, what will keep me safe, what keeps my little girl or little boy safe. So yeah, I hope that helps. A little bit of understanding maybe. I'd love to hear your feedback, whether it resonates or not. And next time we're going to move up to the heart chakra, which is super exciting. So the center of love in our bodies. And if there's anything anybody wants to talk about related to the heart chakra, just let me know and I'll see if I can come up with anything. All right, sending everybody lots of love. Take care.